Have you guys heard of, I just saw this on TikTok, but have you guys heard of astral projecting or astral?
Yes. I haven't done, well, I'm like talking about like, yeah, I have an astro project. I have out of body experiences. Sorry. Go
How?
on.
No, I just saw the TikTok of the girl explaining it, and she like, I'm just like looking at this video. I'm like, this girl's crazy. And I go to the comments and everybody's talking about how they've astral projected and how they've had out of body experiences. And people are like, these comments were like, no, do not do this. Like I did this and it took so long for me to get back to my body. I'm like, wait a fucking second.
Where are these people? Who?
How is this like not
Wait, what?
like more like how is this
Zane,
not talked about more if this is like a real thing?
There's a vlog one time where I was telling you that I had woken up and you had surprised me with Lord sitting on the couch and I was talking to her and you guys were talking to me.
Okay.
That was a time where I astral projected out of my body.
But you were dreaming.
Correct. It only happens when you're dreaming.
Oh.
But your
wait,
consciousness
I thought you were
goes
hypnotized.
out of your body. And it's happened to me multiple times. It usually happens when I'm out of town and I'm sleeping in a foreign place. And I have friends there and family who I'm like excited to see. But I'm like in this weird state of napping where I think I've already awoken and I'm talking to them in another room. And then I realize I'm in this loop where I'm like, no, I'm actually sleeping. But I am like out of my body.
You're at that place. Like
I'm at that place in the room talking to those people. It's all in my dream, but I'm out of my body and it feels so real. I feel like I've already woken up.
Oh, I might have had that then.
And then next thing I know, I'm like, opening my eyes and I'm like, I'm still in bed.
Did we just talk about this?
Yes.
Like, no.
So you don't do it purposefully.
Oh,
like,
No,
I think that has
it
happened to me.
happens.
these
You're
people
right.
are talking about this like, oh, they can do this if they want.
It's just getting to a state of awareness in your dreaming, and honestly, the possibilities are like infinite.
I know, but they're making it seem like you have a choice.
I hate talking about dreaming. Like, I really hate it because I hate when also people like start talking about their dreams. Like, do you want to hear about this thing that didn't happen? Like, it gets to a point where it's like kind of silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like talking about it.
You know, it's just like when you hear someone like tell about a crazy dream, I'm like, cool, but it didn't happen. But all those things are possible: lucid dreaming and out of body experiences.
This is my belief. I think that like when we die, we are in we're in a dream once we die, but it's like our heaven or our like what we want to be in for the rest of our life.
Have you seen the show on Netflix about near-death experience?
I've seen a couple like where they're about to die and like they see
they
then
leave their body.
Yeah.
And they've had these like crazy, not visions, but like one of the ladies, she died on the operating table and like left her body and saw and was watching the doctors performing surgery on her. Saw everything that was going on. It was this long process and she was like dead and they were trying to like bring her back and they ended up bringing her back and she came back and was like talking to the doctor and was like explaining and talking about everything that she had seen while she was out and unconscious. And the doctors was like, how do you know this? How did you see all this? Like, it's not possible. Like, you were dead when this was going on. Like, how? She was like, I left my body and I was looking down and I was watching it happening and then got pulled back into my body.
And then another guy had a similar experience. Remember, she talked about how vivid the colors were and all this stuff, and he had the same experience. He was like, the colors were vivid, and it was like this whole...
And another lady,
crazy.
she was a kayaker and went over a waterfall and ended up being like trapped and pinned under and like died underwater. And like her body got sucked out like 20 something minutes later and was unconscious the entire time. Somehow they brought her back to life. And while she like, I don't know how she wasn't brain damaged or anything like that. She doesn't know either. But while she was dead, she like, her whole life flashed. She did the thing. She was talking to God and he was just, I guess this is what she was saying was that like, he was like, this isn't your time yet. You're going to go back, you're going to finish, you're going to have this journey and you're going to tell about this experience. And it was this crazy thing, but like nobody knows how she survived. And he was like, I am going to tell you though, that your son is going to die young, just a heads up or something like that.
Or your son won't live to see 18.
Or, yeah, he did hit his 18th birthday,
Oh,
and then
he
she thought it was
just turned
okay.
18, and then
So
she told him,
and then he
was
ended
a
up dying like
skier.
really, really shortly
He was a
after
professional
that.
skier or something, got into a crazy accident and passed away when he was 18 or 19 or something. crazy.
Actually, was just talking to my brother earlier about it, but he died and his heart completely stopped, and they brought him back to life. And he was out, I guess, for like 30 seconds. He had some weird virus of the lining in his heart, and my parents like rushed him to the hospital. He wasn't feeling good. He felt like his heart was being like squeezed. So they pulled him in and they sent him like straight to the emergency heart unit, whatever. And he was like sitting there, and he said he was on the table, looked up, and he was like, my heart. And then he just went out. And he said that he was laying there and he just like felt his body being like pulled forward. And he said he saw a bunch of like faces and people that like he couldn't like recognize, but he was like getting closer. And he said it was like this really warm, welcoming feeling. And it was just like, he just felt light and happy. And then all of a sudden he like started getting further away from it, and they started like getting like pulled back. And then he like woke up, and they were like shocking his chest. And then he said he like looked over, and then he heard the doctor in the room. He was like, well, that was intense. And he was like, did my heart just stop? And they're like, yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is like
But he's
unbelievable.
always wanted like a near-death experience to like have his own proof religiously. And he was like, dude,
That was it, yeah.
Damn.
this was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
The brain is crazy. Like, I just wonder how like everybody's brains work when like that time comes. Like, someone that doesn't believe in God, that like has a near-death experience, what do they experience
That was
when they're
the show had
when
some
they're about
people
to
that
die?
didn't believe in anything. Yeah. It happens to a lot of people that don't believe.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's crazy. That is like, oh,
Scary.
that is chilling.
Huh.
I'm just like imagining Matt like dying, and he sees like Groundhog Day. He just sees everybody at Groundhog Day. That's
probably what it will
like
be.
That's just his happiness, and that's what his brain is telling him. Like, okay, this is your path after.
Welcome to
after
Punxsutawney.
All right. Cool.
Well, that was a roller coaster of an
That
episode.
was a roller coaster. That was fun.
Some good stuff.
That was really
Highs,
fun.
lows, happiness, sadness.
Everything in
Confusion?
between.
Epiphanies.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening and watching.